Extended edition.
That's just because you said something.
There you go.
All right. Welcome to Hit or Miss. I'm Night Strike, and I have an interesting panel here this evening. I've got a newcomer, Jeff. Apparently, he's a friend of Sean's.
Hello.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for showing up. Sean, what's going on? Finally.
Yeah, back from an illness and a bunch of other crap. But yeah, I'm back. And probably the world's worst Instagrammer. So, hi. Thanks for having me.
You have an Instagram?
Yeah,
he's got an Instagram.
Same name as my username, Sean Ponery on Instagram.
Is it new?
He's posting pictures of ammo.
No,
It's been there for a while.
check
but
out
I mean,
my followers, and you'll find him in the list. So just go and just.
Well, I'll just check out my followers and see if he's in the list. Because if he's not, I'm not following him back.
Oh, snap!
Jackass.
All right, and I forget. Don't let me forget to introduce my co-host, Smeggy42.
Hello, everyone. Great to be here. Check out Hit or Miss Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock.
They are checking it out. We're on Hit or Miss.
In that case, then check out the Daily Gun Show. Every night, Tuesday is a special night because it's right before Hit or Miss. But other than that, all the other nights, 7 o'clock.
I thought it was at 3.
No, they've changed it to 7
changed
o'clock
it to-
Eastern.
Okay, they've changed it to 7 o'clock.
And
Gun Channel
that's why I say
time.
Tuesday is a special night because it's the lead-up show into Hit or Miss.
Oh, right.
But it's good on the other nights too, Monday through Friday. Just Tuesday's a special one.
Only as long as they don't have that feisty Canadian there.
Bob hasn't been around in a while, but he might pop back in. I'm
All
not
right.
Sean on my followers list. I don't know.
And last but not least, we have Travis P11.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Travis. Check out my channel on YouTube, Travis P11. I'm also on gunchannels.com with the Ordinary Average Guy Gun Channel. Oh, yeah. Thanks for the invite, man.
Awesome.
Much appreciated.
Problem. So, tonight we're gonna go over a couple things. I don't know how you guys want to go about it. Smeggy, do you want to talk about those guys first, and then talk about the ATF memo, or do you want to go through the ATF memo a little in detail, and then those two guys, or what do you want to do?
How about option number 3? I kind of want to go over that the gun violence research people because that's a pretty short article, and the guy's crazy.
Let's go over that one first, then.
Okay.
And
Let's go over that one first. Let me put my phone down since I do not see a Sean following me on Instagram, so I am not going to follow one.
I'm looking for you.
So let me pop the link here into Gun Channels. Boom, there it is. I don't have YouTube open, so you guys can look it up on Gun Channels, the homepage. I posted it earlier, or you can come to Gun Channels and look in the chat. So the title of this article is Gun Violence Researchers Race to Protect Data from Trump. Gee, that's not clickbait, huh? So
well, look at the website. Yeah, just saying.
Well, it's on Wired. Isn't that like Computer Nerds or something?
Wired's a respected. I think it's a respected publication. I mean, I've been reading it for 20 years.
Yeah, yes, it's
I
for
actually have no
nerds.
problem with the author of this article.
Hey, man.
I have a problem with the person he's talking about.
Well, I'm not
all
saying
the stuff I don't
Wired's
like is
bad,
that
it's
guy's
just-
quotes.
I don't read Wire for my news, but
Okay, then don't. This is an interesting thing, though.
okay.
So it's basically like blah blah blah. It was January 20th, da 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 da, and some dude, Searda, I think that's the main guy, right? Yeah. So he's like the main dude at the UC Davis Violence Prevention Research Program, which focuses on another politicized region of science, gun violence. Okay, blah blah. Yeah. Oh, so she knew what that meant. I'm sorry, I said some dude. It's some lady. I apologize. I did not read that the first time.
Care.
So some lady. Okay. whatever. You're a jerk either way. So basically saying like, oh no, I was looking on the website and climate data was vanishing, and she was worried that it would happen to gun violence data as well. So
Smiggy, I am following you already.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. I'll do, dude. I'll figure it out later. I'm sorry.
World's worst Instagrammer.
No, I just have so many followers. It's hard to like look at all of them. So, anyways, this lady's like, I was on Amtrak between some places and stuff, and I sent an email to these other people. We need to start downloading our data immediately because apparently, even though they are a violence prevention research group that is supposed to be like scientists, they don't like keep any of their own data. They just like search, the FBI's website or one of the other ones or whatever. And then like whenever they're looking something up, they just look it up on the internet and like cherry pick whatever fact they want and then go along their day of like writing whatever their research paper is. So for one, I think that, real scientists would just kind of keep their data on their own computers, but they were worried that like the links would disappear and shit, which is also stupid because if you're using like the FBI's Uniform Crime Report, you can just get that. Like, you don't need to have like the White House website give you a link to it or whatever. Like, you can just get the whole report and you can read it, and then you can look at the data that you're interested in. They're just bitching and moaning because they won't be able to like quickly click on something and get the data already all cherry picked for them so that they can say what they want it to say. And I mean, the article itself, there's not a lot in there, but basically they talk about how it's like it was a frantic day. They got all 10 of their people to, download all of their stuff and blah, blah, blah. And so again, it's not the article itself. There's not a lot in there. But it's just the idea that these violent research people, which, what was the thing? There's a thing in here again. Blah, blah, blah. He was instructed his team, barely 10 people, which isn't surprising in this notoriously underfunded field, to create a counter-pendulum of gun-related data as a failsafe. Everyone stopped what they were doing and gathered around a big table in the center of the office, blah, blah, blah. And we wrote things up on a whiteboard and assigned jobs, and we sat there for a day through lunch. God, it was a frenzy of downloading. Like, okay, great, dude, whatever.
Right.
So he's trying to like play the victim, like we only have 10 people because we're underfunded, blah blah blah. And I think that was almost like a reference to like that ban on like the CDC doing, obvious anti-gun quote unquote research and shit like that. Like they're also butthurt about that. We can't get the government to give us money to manipulate facts and say guns are evil. Like, well, fuck off, dude. Like, for one thing, if you're smart enough, you would just trick Bloomberg into giving you $1 million or whatever, then you'd be fine because he throws money at anything. But I don't know. I don't know if there's much more to talk about on that. It struck me the wrong way that they were just like, for one, it's not like the data's getting deleted. I mean, it made it sound like Trump is going to like delete data and shred papers and all this shit. And it's like,
you mean pull a Hillary?
If anything, like they said, he might take the links down online. So you actually have to get the whole report. You can't just, click on something and be like, bloop, here's that table I was looking for. Which I'll admit, I use Table 20 all the time. If you guys are familiar with the FBI, Uniform Crime Report, Table 20 is always the same. And I look at it each year. And it's nice being able to pull it up online. And what's funny is that I think the facts prove our side more than they prove their side. So I don't know why they're so upset with not being able to get the facts. They don't seem to use them that much anyways.
Yeah, that's another thing. I don't think they're trying, while they're saying this and that, they're not trying to protect any data that's already there. They're just trying to protect their skewed hypothesis or their skewed reports, because it's all those reports they spent 8 years on trying to skew and not necessarily fudge, but make it look bad for guns, because they were on the Obama agenda.
Right. Well, see, because they have to pull all the data out, and they have to make sure, you know, they do from like February of this year until like October of the following year. Because if they go through November, then it messes up their numbers. And if they started in January, it messes up their numbers. Like, that's one of those things when you see people talk about trends and they start at like a weird time, like not just like a decade or the past 5 years. It's like over the past 3.7 years, like starting from the middle of August until then, it's like, why'd you pick that day? And it's because either something happened at the beginning of the year, or, you know, it's like it went up then right back down, so they only show the first part or whatever. Like, always be skeptical of any, this is on anything. If people are showing trends and like the date range seems weird, try and find their initial data and extend the date range out a little bit and see what it does to the trend. Because I bet you they started and stopped for a reason on those certain days.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be sensationalist enough.
That pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. So there you go. So we whipped through that pretty quick.
Yeah.
Unless you guys have something else to say about it. It's an interesting article to read. It's, like I said, there was a couple lines in there that were just like, they kind of struck me the wrong way and pissed me off a little bit. But like I said, the author actually, I don't think was that bad. It's more, unfortunately, the author was quoting people saying stupid things. And it's like, well, they did say that, so that's what the quote is. So I have more of a problem with the people from the Violence Prevention Research, blah, 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 which is basically just a cherry picking organization. Because they don't actually care about preventing it, because then they wouldn't be researching just guns. They'd be researching job loss. They'd be researching, single mom households, or they'd be researching dropouts from high school. Like, they'd be researching other stuff that affects crime, but they never do. Right. They just look at guns are scary. Look at all these guns.
Guns are scary. Look at all these guns. They don't need to be here. Yada, yada, yada. And they're not actually giving us any. They're not giving us, per se, the whole truth. They're fudging. They really are fudging it, because they're only giving.
Just look at that little chart they have halfway down the article, and numbers don't lie. Americans got a gun. No, Americans have an addiction with defending their lives. Okay, and I'm sorry you got to tie in gun sales with that, but that's the reality of it. So I mean, just looking at their little chart, what does that say about the data they're pushing out there?
Well, and if anything, yeah, Americans have a whole bunch of guns, and we've gotten a bunch more the past 10 years than we had before. Yeah. Okay, great. Has crime gone up? No. Then your point's invalid. Fuck off. I mean, I rest my case on that one. Like, okay, if guns are so evil, we have 10 times more guns, we should have 10 times more crimes. Oh, crime went down? Oh, well then fuck off. It's really that simple.
Right.
I've got an addiction against defending myself against bad guys. Sorry.
Yeah, and I have to take a quote from Dugan from Carnicon, but we all know that bad guys ventilate faster the more holes they have in them.
That's a good point.
No, thank you, Dugan from Carnicon, for that wonderful quote.
And make some more videos.
Make some more videos. I mean, it's been like 2 years. Come on, man.
You want him to come out of retirement?
Like I say, I heard some stuff. I don't want to start rumors or whatever, but I'd like for him to just start making videos again. That'd be cool.
Me too.
I'll just say that.
So let's shelve that.
Let's jump on the FBI thing. That's an interesting.
Well, hold on. I want to mention something. So, Jeff, check your mic, please. All right. I wanted to mention that if anybody has any questions, ideas for the show, suggestions, topics, yada, yada. If you want to tell us something, anything, please send us an email to nightstrike1@gmail.com. It's right there on the screen.
And it's spelled all weird.
It's spelled all weird with a Y, because I'm that kind of asshole, just like Matt, who's never enough ammo, and he doesn't spell it properly either, because that's how we do it at Gun Channels. That's how we roll.
Or you could be like, and send the questions to the Heavy B channel
we have a heavy
at gmail.com, because I actually spell my shit right, so it's not too hard to figure out.
No.
Even if you just want to ask what the hell a Poco Ghibli is.
Yeah,
I bought that shirt last night. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking
about, buy the shirt.
Watch Matt.
I'm telling you,
and buy a Poco Ghibli shirt off a gear website Spreadshirt.
Oh my God.
Because G-Webs gets like $3 per shirt, and he needs it because he needs a new van.
It goes towards van channeling.
But also on
Also,
I
you
want a
can
Poco
part-
Ghibli. I want a Poco Ghibli bumper sticker.
on the Gun Channels page, and even on my YouTube page for Hit or Miss, I also have set up a Patreon link if you want to try and support us, so we can get some better equipment to, I don't know, do these podcasts better and actually do them uniformly.
Can we pay for better hosts and guests?
Well, that might actually help.
Better host, yes. Better guess, I'm here. Fuck no, you don't need both.
Wow. Yeah, we derailed on that one quite a bit. But
Well,
yeah.
I'm technically the co-host, so yeah, better host I would deal with.
Anyways, check us out. Also, it's also like us on Instagram and
Give us your thumbs
give us your thumbs up on our videos too.
right now. Do it right this second.
No,
bastard.
you don't have to do that.
No, you do have to do it right this second.
Like, comment, and subscribe our videos because I'm running out of ideas, guys. Come on, give us some ideas for.
Oh,
the
we
show.
always have ideas. We'll be fine. I'm
We
gonna
have
go look at
ideas, but
YouTube on
I
my
would like
phone
some
real
more-
quick.
I
And
would
I'm
like
gonna-
some more viewer feedback. Okay.
Jesus Christ. We want viewer feedback. That's fine. Great. But I'm going to go look and see how many people are watching. And I'm going to look at how many thumbs. And if those numbers don't match, you guys are in trouble. I'm going to be mad at you.
Yeah, he's gonna go all Poco Ghibli on you.
Yeah. I'm going to
Poco Ghibli.
Poco Ghibli.
Open up a can of Poco
Come to your
Ghibli.
house.
Yeah, the Ghibli is real.
I don't know.
Like,
Someone
he'll kick
pissed
in your
in
door,
Matrix
jump in your
Cheerios
lap, and
yesterday, but
cuddle
someone
you.
pissed in mine today.
Damn smags.
So give me
Look
your
at the thumb.
thumbs.
The
All
thumbs
right.
are going up.
As long as you don't reenact the Bone Tomahawk fucking
Oh.
wishbone scene. We're good.
Friends, countrymen, give us your thumbs. All right. Anyways, now let's talk about this this memo that's been going around that people are saying is what the ATF is working on, but as far as we know, it's just a leaked memo. So what is this, Snakes? What is this? It's from the ATF, right?
Yeah,
It's from
it
the
is
chief
from
operating
the
officer.
third highest guy in the ATF. And basically, I forget the exact subject line or whatever, but it's something like things we could do to reduce regulations or something.
Options to reduce or modify firearms regulations.
Yeah, see, exactly what I said.
16 points were on it too.
Yeah, which I'm going to have to pull it up because I don't remember all of them off the top of my head.
Here, I'll
Well,
post it on the internal.
the important ones are
There you go, guys.
ignoring like the M855 thing,
SIG brace.
SIG brace,
Out-of-state
revising the
dealers
sporting
can
purpose
sell on
wording,
site.
so so-called modern sporting rifles now fit within that category. Changing the destructive device rulings to better differentiate between launchers and munitions. That way, manufacturers can use entire lots instead of just individual pieces. Let's see what else. The silencer thing too. Reclassifying them as non-NFA items, revising the definition of silencer.
Man, if this happens, I'm literally if this goes through, if all this stuff goes through, I will probably start crying. I'm not kidding. I'm just like, whoa, this is
I just want to
nuts.
see them in blister packs at Walmart like you do in other countries.
Oh man, can't you just go buy them at their version of Walmart? Don't they just have them like in the glass case right next to the pocket knives?
Yeah, but
The
in Canada,
suppressors.
one hand gives while the other one, robs you blind.
Oh no, I know, but I'm saying at least they can get them, dude.
Well, it's not like Mika. It's not like Mika where he can just go in the shop, say, "I need that one and that one on the shelf. Here's your money, and let's go."
That's how it should be.
Reimportation of certain Department of Defense surplus firearms from foreign countries.
Okay, hit or miss. 21 people watching. I click on the link. 7 thumbs up.
Paul Chase
Seven.
is stalking you.
8, 23 watching, 23 or 23 and 8 right now.
Okay, well,
That's actually better numbers than we usually get.
23 and 8. Come on, peoples.
Look, if
Come
we
on,
can
man.
get,
I'm gonna
Hashtag
go on
Poco-
strike and not
hashtag
sing
Poco
if y'all don't
Ghibli.
come up, or
we
maybe
get
I'll
all
sing more.
those
I don't know which
petition
one.
All right,
signers to
All
actually,
right, guys, calm down. Calm down.
Okay, FBI, white thing. So,
right. So we
Number
get
one,
the petition
new
signers to actually work this
FFL dealers
thing.
exclusively at gun shows. That's
They
point
can do
number
away
one.
with number 4, which is allow greater flexibility for the ATF to grant FFL SOT permission to transfer post-86 machine guns. if we get rid of the Hughes Amendment, we don't even have to worry about that one anymore.
What?
Or don't even
Let's go through the list, dude.
don't even enforce the Hughes Amendment. There we go.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. I mean, as we can work on getting rid of the stuff, which Congress does have to do some of this, but if they just say, "Hey guys, let's ignore this for a little bit," it's a step in the right direction. I don't like that as a final option, because then what happens when they do that is people say, "Oh, see, it's cool. They're not going to arrest me if I make an SBR and don't register it, so I'm fine." And then someone else comes into power and says, "Okay, go round all these motherfuckers up. They're done." So that's where it's the same thing they're doing with marijuana right now. In the states that it's legal, the federal government's like, "Yeah, we're not going to come in." But they could change tomorrow and say, "Go close down every pot shop in Colorado." Federally send in the DEA, like they're done. Now they haven't. I don't see that happening, but that risk is there. So
Yeah.
I don't like to think it's all butterflies and rainbows just because they say we don't want to enforce this particular thing. It's a step in the right direction, but then people get lazy and say, "Well, they don't enforce it, so we're fine. We don't have to get rid of the law because they're not enforcing it." And it's like, no, we still need to work to get rid of that law.
Check the side chat and comment on the side chat, because I need your comment on this. But yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I know you're on a roll, but
Oh, yeah, that's what Travis mentioned earlier, too.
yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, sure, why not? I don't give a shit.
You don't mind? All right.
I don't give a shit. We can always ban them or something.
Right.
So I do want to go through this list real quick, though. I mean, like you said, 16. Can I just read them from the start to finish and talk about them?
Keep going.
Okay.
We'll talk about each one.
Okay, so number 1, new FFL dealing exclusively at gun shows. Blah, blah, blah. Over 2 years, representatives with FFL communities have asked for clarifications from the ATF regarding new FFLs requesting to conduct business solely at gun shows. ATF has delayed this decision or guidance due to several concerns, including what it means to be engaged in the business of selling firearms. Blah, 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 blah. So, and then they talk about, the classic brick and mortar storefronts. So I think he's basically saying, okay, there's ample room for immediate action on this issue. ATF can simply issue new guidance immediately and adjust past policy. So I think that's good. I think they need something that just comes out and says, all right, this is it. You're in the business if you do this. If you don't do this, you're fine. If you want to just sell at gun stores, you're fine. You're approved. Or gun shows, you're approved. You're fine. If you want to just sell out of your kitchen table, sell one a month or whatever, you're fine. That's okay. Because that's the thing. They've been cracking down on not giving out FFLs to people who don't have brick and mortar stores. And that's a bad thing, because if they keep doing that, eventually, if stores close or different stuff happens, there won't be any more FFLs. And then when they say, well, you have to buy a gun from an FFL with all these expanded background check bullshit stuff, you don't have anyone down the street that's going to do it for $10. You can only go to like the one person in town who still has an FFL.
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah,
we got you. We can.
All right, cool.
Okay, so here's AWAG. He's one of the new members on Gun Channels, I assume, because I haven't seen you before.
Yeah, I just joined because sorry, I'm really nervous. I was following Travis a long time, and I was watching Never Enough Ammo for the longest time.
Yeah, welcome aboard, dude.
You have arrived.
Oh, there's Sean Poner. I'm following you, dude. It's all good.
And we have another latecomer. It's everybody's favorite Friday night, other favorite Friday night podcaster. We got Edge on here.
Hola.
Senor.
Good times. You guys are welcome. Jump in on any of these things. So I'm going to keep going. Armor-piercing ammunition. ATF has regularly authorized to, or has regulatory authority to classify what is and is not armor-piercing. Several major ammunition manufacturing companies have requested pending for years, blah, 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 blah. So let me jump down to the good part where they says we should just fucking allow everything.
So wait, on the armor-piercing thing, would that...
Well, he's going to go over them, and we're going to
go ahead. Let me ask a question, dude. What's up?
All right. Okay.
All right.
So basically, they're talking about these things that, like for example, the green tip. What was the other one? The 7N6. Like basically, uh, the way the armor piercing thing came out, they were talking about ammunition that has like a combination of certain cores, and then they list a bunch of stuff like brass, steel, depleted uranium, blah blah blah, like all this stuff. And in the original one, it says a round like designed for use in a handgun that then has these cores made out of this stuff is considered armor piercing. Therefore, it cannot be imported. It can't be sold. Blah blah blah. Well, then what they did is said, well, people are making like AK pistols and they're making AR pistols. Therefore, 7.62, 54R, 545, the 5.56 stuff, the green tip, like that's all now armor piercing because it has a lead core or it has a steel core, even though it's mild steel. And that's not one of the things that's listed in the other stuff, but whatever. So then they kind of combined the two together and said, well, okay, those are now all armor piercing. And this guy's basically saying, hey, we should just, change that. If the restrictions were removed, ATF could readily apply drafted standards for reviewing armor piercing ammo requests while leaving the 5.56 green tip ammo exemption intact. So you'd still have green tip. You could do all the other stuff.
When all those restrictions were imposed, I mean, you've seen some of those senators make a fool out of themselves with the Clipazine, that guy from California, made a complete ass out of himself, and he had know what he was talking about, and this gun 30 rounds a second, and I don't know what.
30-round magazine clip.
Ghost gun, baby, ghost gun.
I tried to make one of those, but I couldn't figure it out. I mean, I know that what's his name, the competition shooter, Jerry Mikulek, he made one, but I couldn't make one as good as that. I just couldn't.
A lot of those people get conned in or get advised by somebody who knows. It's like that guy who knows a little about politics. That the other person never wants to do their own research and listens to them and ran with it, man. And it's pathetic.
Right.
So. Number 3, reimportation of certain Department of Defense surplus firearms from foreign countries. The State Department and ATF have worked over the past several years with the administrator on requests for importing U.S. original military firearms, ammunition, and parts which were once sent overseas to support allies. These are surplus rifles, pistols, ammunition, other blah, 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 blah. Down at the end, many M1 Garand rifles have been approved for importation in the past, setting precedents for this to occur. Blah blah blah. This is some other stuff. Oh, the more recent derails were in part due to perceived potential that they may be used in crimes for which there is little, if any, evidence for such a concern. So he's basically saying, let's import back all of this stuff that the CNR type stuff, and maybe through that what's that thing where you can get it cheap or whatever, the CMP or something.
Yeah, Civilian Marksman Program.
Yeah. So he's basically saying, bring back that stuff. We could do that. That'd be cool.
I don't think they should just have to funnel it through that. They could just do like they did with every other mill syrup that they brought back and freaking flood the market with them so people can buy them.
Yeah, definitely. I'm saying it would be nice because the CMP is one, like you kind of get a discount on it and stuff for being part of it. But yeah, you're right. They just bring it back and sell it to whoever wants to buy it. I'd be cool with that.
They make a good point in that document. I read it further. It says, American tax dollars paid for those weapons. And we import curio and relic firearms from foreign countries. Why can't we bring our own weapons back for domestic consumption? That's a good point right there.
We're talking about those Garands in South Korea, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, 1911's Garands, whatever. I'm sure 1911s are all gone. It mentions 1911s in the report.
Here's the point. Those weapons were made here in the fucking USA. Why can't we get them back? I know. Yeah. I'm just asking the question because it's me. Why can't we get them back? It came here from the first place.
But
there's no 911 or whatever you want to call it. That 920. What the hell is it?
922R.
922R. Yeah, I kept thinking 929. You're thinking of Porsches. Yeah, 922R regulations on them. There's nothing.
The way Obama pushed it to the public was he was making it seem, he didn't say Garands or what. He said military grade weapons. So everybody that listened and wasn't informed again thought that we're talking, M4s and freaking, M16s and all of the new shit the military's getting couldn't be imported, and they were like, oh, we're down with that. They didn't know you're talking about, vintage 70, 80-year-old firearm or
He's talking about military grade weapons. Yeah, they were military grade and they were great about 80 fucking years ago, like back in 1942. Now they're not so much military grade weapons. Hardly any military uses the M1 Garand.
Breathe in your bag.
Full force.
Somebody give him a Vicodin
in the bag.
All right, so I want to jump into number 4 here because now that I've read it, it's not as cool as I thought it was.
Yeah.
So Title 18 U.S. Code Section 922.0. Current law precludes FFLs who are registered SOTs from transferring machine guns manufactured post 86 unless they're for export or for law enforcement. There's no provision for the transfer from one SOT to another. This is somewhat detrimental, blah, 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 blah. One option is supported by the DOJ would be to reinstitute ATF's ability to provide variances to licensees as ATF has done in the past. So what they're talking about is as of right now.
Well, you know what a variance is. It's an exception.
Exactly. So because of the hues, an SOT, which would be, an FFL/SOT, they can make them and they can sell them to law enforcement, but they can't sell them to other SOTs. So all this is asking to do is allow one SOT to be able to sell it to another SOT. It's still not going to get out to the public. It's just as of right now that the end purchaser has to be law enforcement or export. So if one dude makes it and he, wants to sell a couple to another store who also sells to police officers, they can't do that right now. So they're asking for a special variance to be able to do that. So that's not as
I see
cool
no problem with that.
Well, there's no problem with it. It's just it's not helpful to any of us unless we're SOTs. That's just more of a behind the scenes, like industry people would like it.
I want to be an SOT.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I say we start up the gun channels.
No,
FFL, SOT.
No, I have to call it
Trust or whatever.
No. We're gonna call it Hit or Miss Gunworks, and it's gonna be our new model, the Poco Ghibli one.
Oh, that's nice, dude. I like that. Good
That
call,
sounds
man.
awesome.
But I still am very reluctant to call a firearms manufacturing company Hit or Miss. I think that's bad PR.
Yeah,
but I like the way you're thinking.
Okay, well, we'll call it Night Strike Armaments.
As long as I'm an employee and I get to play with the fun toys, I'm happy.
But that's
We could just call it Gun Channels Armaments. I mean,
Well, no, because then we'd have to pay royalties to
G-Webs.
GC
rounds.
you're going to have to give royalties to G-Webs anyway because your model's going to be the Poco Ghibli, and that's his
We'll just
thing.
buy him a new van.
Just buy him a new van, pay him off.
I'm down with that. That sounds good.
All right, let's continue.
Number 5, Sig Brace. And blah, blah, blah. It's, I don't know. That's
In short, let's stop wasting our time with what people are going to do with their fucking gun.
Oh, here we go. Oh, never mind. God damn it. I keep getting excited before I read the whole thing. So number 6, reissue a new sporting purpose study. Since the sunset of the assault weapons ban, blah, 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 all these things are being used as modern sporting rifles. They've increased exceptionally in sport shooting. These firearm types are now standard for hunting activities. ATF could re-examine its almost 20-year-old study and bring it up to date with the sport shooting landscape of today. So basically, they're still saying that, something has to have sporting use in order to be able to import and all this stuff. But they're saying, let's relook at that and say that, AR-15s and AKs and stuff have a sporting use. I'd like to get rid of sporting use in general. Like, that shouldn't be a requirement, because to me, if you shoot a pop can in your backyard, it's a sport and it's sporting use. I mean, it's a tool to begin with, but if they broaden it to include more things, that's good.
defensive use.
Exactly.
Yeah, defensive use is lawful use, so that should count too. I think that's the words they use. It's lawful or sporting use or something like that. But yeah. Creation of a database for agency rulings. Well, that's it. ATF lacks a consistent internal database to maintain and readily access private letters and rulings. That's interesting. So basically, for people who don't know, you can write the ATF a letter. Like, let's say you want to build something or you want to do something. You'd be like, hey, ATF, if I do this, am I breaking the law? And they write you a letter back and say, well, we've looked at it and, this thing is not a silencer, or this thing is a silencer. You would have to register it, or blah, 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 whatever. And then you say, okay, thanks. Well, that only accounts for you. That's you personally are allowed to do that. But if your neighbor does it, a different agent might say, oh, he's not allowed to do that. He might see it differently. And apparently there's no internal database where they could check, okay, look, all these people asked this question. We gave half of them this answer. We gave the other half the other answer. So let's get on the same page. And it would probably add to more consistency. So number 8, silencers.
It's really weird they don't have that, actually.
Yeah, well, I wonder how many letters they get, in a day or whatever. It's probably just an organizational type thing. I mean, they probably have guidelines to hey, if people write you and say, I'm going to build a bomb, write them back and say, no. You know what I mean? But if, they just probably just don't keep track of it very well. And it could be because of workload or whatever. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how many letters they respond to every day. But that was one of the things with the SIG brace is SIG wrote them and said, hey, we're going to make this thing. Is this a stock? If people put it on something short, does that make it a rifle? And the ATF wrote back and said, no, that's not a stock. That's a brace. And then later they decided, hey, if you put this brace, if you put this brace on your shoulder, you've re-engineered it. Therefore, you turned it into a stock.
Yeah, nothing was modified whatsoever, but you technically, quote, re-engineered something.
Right. And that's which the previous one said, hey, let's stop worrying about that and let's change that. But that would be an example of a letter that, SIG wrote, and apparently there's no way for ATF to pull that up easily. If someone else says, hey, I want to build this thing, it's a brace. Is this considered a stock? They should be able to pull up SIG's thing and say, well, we said it wasn't for SIG, so we'll say it's not for you. Just
nailed it. He said it's opinion, not law, which means it's really not something that could be enforced anyway.
I disagree with that because they have the power that their opinion matters. If in their opinion you have redesigned something into a stock, then that is law, and they can prosecute you if you did that.
How many people do you think have been prosecuted since then?
Hold on, wait a second. Even if they decide to bust you for it, okay, and you do end up winning, you still have all that other BS you got to deal with. Legal fees, all sorts of other crap. So, I mean, their opinion, whether it is law or not, because they can affect your life in a negative way, whether you win or not in the end, it's probably best to listen to what they have to say. It's a sad thing, but that's just the way it is.
Right, especially if their opinion is, yeah, go ahead and do it, and then someone else tries to bust you, you can say, dude, I was acting in good faith. I asked what they thought, and the ATF said, no, that is not a silencer. Go ahead and, put that solvent trap on the end of your gun or whatever. So then it probably makes your defense a lot stronger.
I want to see that in writing.
Yeah,
they're in that pocket when people were buying them, and they were buying them like crazy. You couldn't buy them as quick, as they were making them. There were a lot of ranges here, even locally, that wouldn't let you. They're like, I'm sorry, I don't care what the ATF or what your little document you printed out off the internet says. We're not letting you shoot that shit here.
And I mean, that's the ranges, right? I mean, they probably are erring on the side of caution because they don't want to get in trouble or something. But I mean, it's dumb, but I can see it.
Yeah, I can too.
And whoever said it's good to have it in writing, that's exactly why they literally write you a letter back. You literally have a piece of paper from their office that says, you, Mr. Person, you specifically, we think you're allowed to do this. And so if you do it, that's a pretty good defense as far as if someone else says, hey, you shouldn't have done that.
Right.
I heard there was two things that really knocked the dick in the dirt on that one. Was one, overwhelming request for people to have letters for their own documentation, and the two, some shotgun manufacturer who wanted to make shotguns with those stocks and was requesting permission to do so.
Right, yeah, that's kind of what kicked it off or whatever. Because shotguns are kind of falling into a weird thing with like SBSs and stuff. But anyways, let's plow through this real quick. So number 8, silencers. Blah blah blah. Currently, silencers on the NFA. A bunch of states allow silencers, and a bunch of others allow them for hunting and stuff. They're not public harm. Like we should where was that word? Oh shit! Oh my god, where the hell did it go?
Reevaluate.
Yeah, no, but I'm trying to find the sentence. So while DOJ and ATF have historically not supported the removal of items from the NFA, the change in public acceptance of silencers arguably indicates that the reason for their inclusion in the NFA is archaic, and historical reluctance to removing them from the NFA should be reevaluated. So basically they're saying there's no reason for them beyond. Get that shit off of there. Just because you used to not like taking stuff off the NFA, there's no reason why we can't. So that's cool. Number 9, firearm industry proposal to allow for interstate sale of firearms at gun shows. So I guess an FFL can go to a different state and sell. Yeah, sales will be documented and traceable, and background checks were completed, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to go through these a little bit faster. Destructive devices, blah, blah, blah. The destructive device or NFA, da-da-da-da-da. Where's his recommendation, though? ATF should continue to discuss these issues with leadership in the industry and explore changes that would be useful to the defense munition industry and blah, blah, blah. So basically it says there's several different ways to revise the application controls to help solve these issues. So there you go. So we can change some stuff.
All right.
Demand letter 2, an ATF regulator currently provides that all FFLs they have to have 10 or more guns with a time to crime of 3 years or less traced to them in the previous year. Must provide ATF with copies, limited information, da-da-da. Oh, yeah, I heard something about that too. So basically this is if a bunch of guns get traced to the same place, then the ATF can be like, hey, dude, like what the heck's going on? They should... Oh, the threshold was originally set at 25 and later reduced to 10. He's recommending we go back somewhere to the vicinity of 15.
That's not so cool.
Well, it's going up. So basically, it's like I can kind of see their point. If let's pretend there's a mythical FFL that like 100% of their guns get used in crimes and show up at crime scenes. That FFL is probably doing something shady, and I'm fine with them investigating further to see if maybe he's, knowingly hooked up with the cartels or whatever. I mean, it'd be great to go after the ATF for doing that since they knowingly sold guns to the cartels on purpose. But
so he basically wrote that because he knew that Eric Holder was going to open up a gun shop.
Yeah, I guess so.
There are some gun stores, or like when you go to the gun show here locally, pretty much my opinion, most gun stores, they'll be polite about it, but they either charge a lot or they don't really want to deal with FFL transfers because they want to sell their own guns. They really don't want you transferring there. But there's guys that do them for like $15 or $20, and I guess that's all they do out of their house. And maybe they're retired. I don't know if that's their source of income. I don't have a problem with that.
Neither do I.
All right, yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things that like. Here's the thing: if maybe you just happen to be a gun store in, a bad neighborhood, and the guns do end up in criminals' hands eventually, even though you sold them to people who are allowed to have them, and whatever, maybe those people are not on the up and up or whatever. It's not necessarily your fault that your guns keep showing up at crimes, but I'm okay with them saying, all right, you've had like a bunch, like this is not only one, like you've had a bunch. Let's just see if there's something going on. And if there's nothing going on, then you're still not in trouble. And the thing is, originally it was set to 25, which that seems okay. And they went down to 10. Now they want to go back to 15. So it's like, okay, whatever. This next one, 12, demand letter 3, currently requires FFLs in several Southwest border states to record and submit multiple sales records for certain semi-auto rifles, blah, blah, blah. Basically, if someone comes in and buys like a bunch of ARs at once, then the FFL has to, basically tell the ATF about it. And he's basically suggesting we eliminate the DL3 and, we can investigate further or whatever. So,
Does it give an exact number of how many like rifles?
Not in this article or whatever, but I'm sure there is a number. Anyway, this applies to sales of more than one rifle, commonly referred to as modern sporting rifle, sold to the same person at the same time. So if you buy two or more, basically.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And I'm glad that he said, in quotes, modern sporting rifle instead of, in quotes, assault weapon.
So we done? Are we through this thing yet? So we can start talking about it, or
it keeps going?
Oh God,
we're almost done, dude. We're on number 13.
I know. I want to start getting to the nitty gritty.
Well, I thought we were doing each time I stopped on one. Did you have stuff to say about these? That's why I was stopping.
I thought we were gonna wait. Just keep going. Keep going.
Oh my God! Pending ATF regulation regarding FFL record retention for 20 years. Blah blah blah. Where's? See, sometimes kind of hard to find where his actual recommendation is. I'm not sure. No, wait. Much of the firearm industry is opposed to such a change, and a close review of this proposal could be beneficial. Okay, so I don't know exactly what that. It didn't really jump in there, but FFLs have to keep their stuff for 20 years or whatever. Okay, that's fine. Expanding permissive use of NIC checks to FFL holders. I guess they use them on employees. A key aspect of this proposal would be entirely elective if the FBI and others are concerned with the slight expansion. So I guess FFLs can run a NICS check on other people?
I guess.
Other than requiring potential new hires to purchase a firearm, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, are you on the one that's where the FFL wants to do a NICS check on potential new hires?
Yeah, on 14. Yeah. I mean, okay, I guess. I don't like background checks for anything, but, I don't care. So, need for an ATF confirmed director. Yeah, you should probably have one of those, whatever, I don't care. Old regulations under review for possible removal or amendment. Oh, 16. There's not just 16. It's 16 A, B, C, D, F, G, all the way down to fucking Z. So there's 26 other ones. Assault weapons ban, language for assault weapons, blah, 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 armor piercing. So there's other stuff. A bunch of them say obsolete dates, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Right. So get rid of some shit. That's what 16 says. I am done. Talk away, sir.
All right.
I think they all sound good. I mean, they're all a step in the right direction. They're not the end of the road, but what the hell? Let's fight them on all fronts. Fight them with regulation, fight them with law changes, fight them with judges, fight them with executive orders.
There's a couple of comments on the gun channel side on that, and if that ATF memo is legitimate, because some people are saying it's not legitimate and whatnot.
Well, they're all good ideas either way. So
either way, they're all good ideas for the most part. But some of the guys on gun channels are saying that letter sounds. I think No said that letter sounds like someone has their eyes on a promotion in the ATF, and that may be true.
If the number 3 guy what's the number 1 guy's job, what better way to try to take it by appeasing the people?
Right.
Well, the other thing is most government documents are not that concise or for what it was. That was like everything's usually 100 pages, if not 1,000, and anything they draft up.
Yeah, but even still, this was a memo, so it's like
this dude took some time to actually put this together, though.
Yeah, but it's definitely a high-level executive summary type letter. So, but either way, yeah, it's like if your boss asks you, "Hey, dude, like, how can we make the company better?" You're not going to give them a 100-page thing. You're going to say, "Well, I'll do these 10 things." And each one of those paragraphs that I skimmed through and read like 2 lines of, each one of those paragraphs could probably be 5 to 10 pages. So there you go. Now you're at your 160-page document.
Right.
But it's a great summary.
I'm sure everybody got their own, couple cents of what they think that, and other stuff they want to see done. But one thing I didn't see, I don't think it was unless I missed it, was being able to carry NFA items that you have a tax stamp for over state lines without having to get a freaking letter or permission to do so.
Oh yeah, that was not mentioned. That's a great one, because that's one of the problem. Like that's one of the things that suck about NFA is that
isn't that for the most part covered under just sending them a letter getting that letter back, response letter back, and then just under the what was it, the Travelers Act?
Yeah, but you still have to do that, and that can still be cumbersome. I mean, what if,
right?
Especially, let's say I have a bunch of NFA stuff, and for whatever reason, like I go to ranges out of state to, do like promote my company or something, right? Like there was, like I go to Knob Creek and I bring my own stuff or whatever.
Or you go to compete,
Yeah, or whatever. But something comes up last minute. It's like, hey, we got this opening next week. Can you come? Well, no, I can't because I have to wait for a freaking letter to come back. I can't go down to whatever. Like maybe I wasn't planning on it because I had something else going on. Then all of a sudden, boom, things changed. I can fly out tomorrow. Oh wait, no, I can't. So that's a really good one. I'd like to see that go away.
Yep.
It'd be nice if it was a blanket, like you're going to have them, you're going to travel at times, so you request that permission once, and it covers whether it be a lifetime or a set date and time before you have to re-request. That would even be handy rather than one at a time.
Well, they want to know every trip. Like they want to know where those firearms are at all times.
Yeah. Robbie on the Gun Channel side said the ATF leaked this document to remain relevant. The Trump budget cutter is on the prowl. And that might also be true. Maybe they're trying to per se leak this memo just so they can get remain relevant in politics, I imagine, and two, just so they don't get the ire of anybody currently in the current administration that don't like them because some of them were instituted or were given their jobs by the other side.
Well, that's a good point, because there have been people that are saying just get rid of them altogether. We talked about this on the Daily Gun Show today. Good idea, bad idea. Interesting discussion. We had people on both sides, but that's an interesting thing, because they could be doing this to saying like, hey, wait, don't get rid of all of us. We're gonna look at all this stuff we can cut that will save us money, because if you get rid of that stuff, it will end up like that's the whole reason he did that, right? That's what the letter said, was we get rid of these restrictions in order to cut down on stuff. So
I heard some scuttlebutt about him saying something about the ATF again, unconfirmed, saying, what the hell do they do exactly? And how many people do they got? And it's inefficient. And he's an ass kicker when it comes to his idea of how something should run. And if it conflicts with the way he sees it, he's just like, well, you know what? Well, let's just fucking change it. Again, unconfirmed, but I heard some rumor about that he was, what was being fed to him. He's like, what are these clowns doing?
Right. And
yeah, unfortunately though, if he gets rid of it, the responsibilities still exist because the laws still exist. And that was G-Web's point, if I can summarize what he said, was that he would rather say, don't dismantle the ATF and just move it. Let's freaking get rid of the reason that they exist. If you get rid of the regulations entirely, then you don't need anyone looking after it. And I think that's a good ultimate goal to have.
Yeah, Sensenbrenner's ATF Elimination Act. But here's the thing. That act is only to get rid of the ATF itself, so that they most likely have to move the authority of what the ATF covers to other divisions in the government already and other agencies. It's not getting rid of the NFA, the GCA, it's not getting rid of any of that. It's just getting rid of the agency. And that doesn't help so much.
Right.
We had a show on this.
It probably does cut costs, and it might help in the future. This was my statement is I think it's a decent idea. It's not the end result, but it's a step in the right direction, because then now the FBI's got way more stuff to do or whatever, and we can come to them and say, hey, you guys have all this stuff to do. How about you stop doing half of it? Like, we'll make your job easier. And then it might be easier to get rid of some of this stuff.
Well, the ATF is in charge of alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. I don't know why don't they just still sit there like you're doing a lousy job at all three. Why don't you just do one?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I've said this before. I've said this in chats and whatnot. I don't believe that the ATF should be messing with alcohol. It should be the FDA, because alcohol is literally a liquid beverage. Granted, yes,
they deal with the taxes associated with it.
Well, but that's besides the point. Let me finish. They do they should have that under the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, because one, it's a controlled substance, and two, it's imbibed, so it's literally a beverage. So,
yeah, but the FDA
but like I mentioned earlier today,
technically, anything that has to do with taxes has to go to the IRS, because
the ATF was under the IRS. That's how it was set up.
It makes no sense.
They're supposed to only deal with taxes. So that's if you want to sell liquor, you have to have a liquor license, or you have to pay taxes on the labels or whatever, and that's what the ATF does. That's why they go after moonshiners.
That should be the IRS's job. That should be the IRS's job to enforce taxes.
The ATF is the IRS.
I don't want to
be the enforcing arm of the IRS.
Go ahead, Edge.
I don't want bean counters, dictating or overseeing my rights, to my Second Amendment rights.
Well, I'm not saying they have to oversee your Second Amendment rights. They just need to, oversee that the taxes are paid. That's all they need to do. How hard is that?
But I mean, I mentioned this to you earlier today. It was the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, right? So alcohol and tobacco are taxed in all 50 states at different rates. That's why there's different tax stamps for every state. So what they should do is they should put the alcohol and tobacco part of it to the Bureau of Weights and Measures, who already handle things like truck weigh stations, gasoline tax, other things that have multi-state taxes like that. It naturally just fits into their criteria. That just passes half of the responsibilities right over to something that already exists in all 50 states. Job done. Job passed on to the states, smaller government nationally.
I agree with that.
The state is responsible to paying the federal government their cut, because that's why the prices are all different. That's why the stamps are different. Is because at the federal level it's 3% or whatever, and then the state adds on another 5%, but another state might add on 10%, or that's why they're all different.
New York. I mean, I think you mentioned it earlier. Is getting rid of the ATF cuts out the middle management area, so it makes it smaller. The ones that still have to be transferred, half go to Weights and Measures, the other half for alcohol or tobacco. Alcohol and tobacco go together, one half, and then firearms and explosives go under the jurisdiction of the FBI. So you take just a couple of the people from the ATF who need to do that job, send them to the FBI, and you cut out all the fat in the middle, and that's where your savings are. That's where your budget cuts are, right there.
Now, I have a question. Would, some of these laws with the suppressors say they do get passed, that they remove suppressors off the NFA registry, would that be, enforced federally, or would we still have those draconian state laws that say, no, you can't have a suppressor?
The states would still be allowed to say no suppressors. So, unfortunately, the Hearing Protection Act does not help, California, New York, or any of those other ones. Hawaii, yeah. But I shouldn't say it doesn't help, because it does help. Because then you can say, listen, dude, even the federal government says these aren't a big deal. What's your problem? It gives you a better argument position, and it makes the states justify why they say something is bad and evil, when you have examples of all these other states and even the federal level saying, nah, dude, they're fine. Just go buy them. We don't care. Use them for hunting. That's fine.
A classic example is the marijuana or the stuff, the clinics and all those distributors and all the stuff that's going on. That some states are cool with it, and other states are prosecuting people for it.
Exactly, and look what we're seeing now that more and more states are legalizing it, even for recreation. I mean, I think almost all of them have medical nowadays, but a handful of others have recreation, and it's making it easier for the other states. They can go, all right, we weren't the first to do it. We don't want to be the guinea pigs, but look, these other ones raised a bunch of tax revenue and crime didn't go up and stuff, so it's fine. So you need to have good, positions of argument, and when you have good examples to point to say, look, the sky's not falling, everything's fine, it makes your argument a lot easier, because then they have to justify why they think it should be illegal. What's so evil about it, where every other place, nothing bad's happening?
Yeah, you have precedents that you can cite a court case where it was legal, and you have to go to the Supreme Court of your own state, and then sometimes even to the Supreme Court of federal Supreme Court. But it gives you if you can lawyer up like that, you can afford it. It gives you the right to sit there and fight and say, I'm not asking for anything no other man has gotten before or other person.
Right. Oh, yeah. What's that one where it's oh my god, I forget what it is, but like there's something about that with if you have rights in one state, like it helps force the other state to give rights to
Legal precedent.
No, it was one. I thought it was one of the amendments.
I want to marry my sister. Hey, it's all good.
We're not that far south.
I know Dead Horse mentioned it, but
He
didn't
is.
the
He's pretty
ATF
fucking far
actually
south.
move to the DOJ and not the Department of Treasury?
Recently, they did. Yes, yeah, you're right. That's why I said it was set up under the IRS. That was the original intent.
Okay, because earlier you did say it was under the Treasury. You didn't say it was no longer under the Treasury. It was confusing.
Oh, okay, good point.
All right.
See, Dead Horse, people are reading the chat.
So I had another question that I was going to ask about the armor piercing stuff.
Go for it.
When they said about oh crap, just had a brain fart. My bad.
Never
Was
coming
that
back on
letter?
this podcast again.
Oh, okay. I see how it's
Are
going to
you
be.
supposed to rub one out to calm your nerves before you start a chat?
Oh, Jesus Christ! Come on, don't be giving away my
Jeez.
secrets.
You got to clean the pipe.
Anyways, go ahead, dude. Armor
With that,
piercing ammo.
with that memo about the armor piercing, with the handgun ammunition, would that still be under like, hey, you can't like sell or have this, or is it like, hey, yeah, you can have this now?
Oh, no, they were specifically talking about
M855, isn't it?
well, and some of the other ones. So it was still like traditional rifle caliber stuff that they happen to make handguns for now. But no, the original, like, you still can't make a 9mm with,
You're thinking of that steel
uranium
projectile
core.
one, aren't you?
What's that?
You're thinking of those old steel projectile armor piercing 9mm.
Yeah.
9mm.
Because that was the whole reason it was passed, is they were saying that we don't want armor piercing rounds out there for handguns because it's police safety, because people could be concealing a handgun and they could have armor piercing in it, and then they could hurt our police officers. That was the whole original intent. And because even when they went after the M855, the guy who wrote the original thing was like, I never meant for it to deal with rifle rounds, dude. Like, regular soft lead rifle rounds go through soft body armor. Like, it's, that's is not an issue.
Velocity kills armor. That's what I learned.
Oh, exactly. And when you look at how many police have actually been shot, like, that stuff isn't used. No cop's ever been killed with the M855. So why would you try and ban it, saying, well, people might use it to shoot cops? Well, they haven't yet, and they've had all this time to do it. So I doubt they're going to start now.
Well, it's the same thing with silencers. People always have that Hollywood stigma that, you're going to go out and just assassinate people. I'm like,
Yeah.
how many people with
Actually
silencers?
I saw something on suppressors earlier. I forget where it was. I think it was on one of the links I followed off of Every Second Matters. There's a 2A wiki, which is kind of set up like a forum, but each topic is like different federal level laws, like historically, and then there's a section for stuff that's like in Congress right now, and we have links to like track
There
it
you
and different
go.
stuff and
You're
a
about
place.
to get a clarification.
Can you imagine all the machinists that are out there that are in if that does pass or silencers are restricted, they're going to start, guys in your local area that are sitting there making on the mills and all the stuff that they got to do it, to make some money, get in the market, and create a lot of local jobs.
Oh yeah, it'll be cool. So, let me get to my point though, because I got distracted trying to promote Every Second Matters, which everyone watching this should jump onto Every Second Matters as well, because it's awesome. But anyways, the reason the suppressors were added to begin with was because it was during the kind of Depression era type stuff, and they were worried about poaching, and they were thinking, well, if people made their guns quieter, they could get away with poaching more and stuff. But then it was talking about really, like, that's not how they catch poachers even nowadays. Like, almost all of them are tips from, neighbors or something, like, or they just
tips from other
happen,
poachers so they can get rid of their competition.
well, it
Let's
could be,
face the
or
facts.
they just happen to come across it. Like if you take a deer out of season and you're on, you know, a different place and you're taking it back to your house, you know, you get pulled over for going 5 over and there's a deer in the back of your truck. Well, what the heck? It's not November. You can't have a deer in the back of your truck in the middle of summer. You know, that type of thing. So, and I'd really be interested. I haven't found this yet, but I'd like to see like numbers on like how many poachers they catch and how they found them. Because I can almost guarantee, without knowing the numbers, I'll go out on the limb and say it's not because a DNR officer was walking around and heard a unsuppressed shot and said, "Oh, that must be a poacher," and went and caught him.
No. The way it works.
That's always been a bullshit reason anyway. That there's never been any kind of actual correlation to that.
Apparently, in the Gun Channel chat, Knives just posted a thing where the Senate's actually voting on the confirmation for Jeff Sessions.
Finally.
Yeah. Finally, only after how long?
Who's that?
Well,
Attorney
we
General
picked up an Andalusia armorer to help clarify some of this AP nonsense.
Yeah, I wanted to.
Let's give him the floor.
I wanted to clarify a couple of things. One is the armor piercing thing. All that is redefining what armor piercing means, since there's no clear-cut definition on what is and is not armor piercing. And one, they need to first define what armor is, because they use different armor types every time that they classify something as being armor piercing. They'll use whatever armor type they decide to use. One time they maybe use soft body armor, and the next time they may use level 3+ armor. So
there's no standard.
Always varies. There's no standard, and that's what this is defining a standard. Right now, armor piercing pretty much means anything that doesn't contains anything other than lead or copper as a core, and that is not a definition.
No, it's not.
Well, it is a definition. It's just not. It's not a definition that includes everything that can pierce armor.
It's a generality.
And excludes everything that can't, because there's stuff that can't penetrate armor but would still be considered armor piercing by their definition.
But it can, because it can go through 2 layers of t-shirt. So, and that can be considered armor if you're going up against a BB gun. And that's basically the kind of idiocy that's been used to make these definitions in the past.
Right. They don't have like a SAMI spec for armor yet.
That's the whole thing behind the armor piercing. And the last one on the list down there, that thing about running NICS checks for hiring purposes, worded again. I don't like the way that's worded. On firearms purchases.
What don't you like about the wording? Can you go into
detail? It says for non-firearms purchases. Think about that.
Well, the way I read it is that it wants to do NIC checks on people that they want to know if they're even allowed to handle firearms for certain job descriptions.
Very easy, but that's easy to do. And
okay,
I mean, do you have a pistol permit?
Well, generally, when you go for jobs like that anyway, you sign a waiver saying that they're allowed to do a background check on you.
So it's redundant anyway. So yeah. I don't know if they're just like talking like Walmart or something can do a background check on a sporting goods employee, or
they already do that anyway. You have to.
Okay.
They do that before they hire somebody for that department.
But they don't do a NICS background check.
Yeah,
basically they're asking. They're asking to be allowed to use NICS for non-firearm purposes. They want to just use, like, you already have a background check system set up. We want to be able to use it on people that aren't buying guns. And I could see where that part might be scary, but if it's just specifically
puts it into being able to use it. But
what's your nightmare scenario out of that?
Why would you run a NICS background before you hire someone? Because you want to know who they are, what they have?
But opening NICS checks up to other purchases. They specifically talk about purchases, though, and then they go in and talk about hiring somebody.
Oh,
There are
okay.
already
You're
ways
addressing
of
one facet of
running
that.
background checks that's basically the same thing. I mean, if you run a security clearance check, I mean, and it doesn't cost that much to run a security clearance check. I mean, I've had several jobs before where I had to have a security clearance check, and I've had to pay for some of them before I got hired. I had to pay for that check myself.
And there's no guarantee they're going to hire you even if you pay it.
Right.
Yeah.
$500 to $1,000, depending on the
Fuck, seriously?
What?
Some of them are.
Good God.
Lockheed paid for mine, but yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Most of the decent jobs they usually pay for them. When you got to need a job.
Hey, I might be jumping around here, but I thought about an idea for the armor. Kind of like how the FBI does the ballistics gel test. They have their own little standard. I thought about with armor, they use like 3A for handgun. That's not a rifle caliber, and regular level 4 armor for rifle, and that would be their standard.
Right. Well, see, I think that's what they're talking about. Is they're trying to set a standard. They have to define it.
I don't like. That's what that whole thing is all about. Is about. It's about setting a standard by which to gauge that stuff by, and then whatever they do with it from there, they haven't elaborated on that any further.
Yeah, but that's a rabbit hole too. Go ahead. Sorry, Smeg.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, I kind of don't like any of that. Like, why classify it as armor piercing unless you're planning on banning armor piercing? And I would stick with the other way of saying, look, people already own stuff that can go through different types of armor, and they're not shooting people with it. So who cares? Like, look at Demolition Ranch. He's got all sorts of stuff that goes through big ass thick sheets of metal, you know? Like, he has armor piercing stuff. Like, he has stuff that pierces armor. He's never shot people with it, you know what I mean? Like, so what's the big deal? Why can't he have that?
You're saying for the average guy, it's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, I just see them banning more stuff because now they, like, I agree a standard should be set, like, just so at least we're all on the same page. But then what are you going to do with that standard? Or you're going to use it to ban stuff?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot
like
of stuff on this. There's a lot of stuff on this list that it's ideas that are being bounced around, basically. That's all this list is. It's just people talking back and forth. That's really all it is. That's why some of it has like stuff on there, because they've gone into a lot of detail. It's probably had a lot more thought gone into it, a lot more input, and the others are still just scratching the surface of an idea.
Right, you're right, because a lot of them
barely says anything. They're they're basically just barely outlining what that is, and then others goes into detail about what exactly to do about it, or what they would like to do about it, and they're just kind of bouncing around, and there's no telling would be to come of some of it, because some of it could go into creating a new law, some of it could go into getting completely rid of some bull crap legislation. I mean, there's no telling what they could end up with. The thing that I wonder about is the two together. We talked about this earlier on Shop Talk. The getting rid of the demo letter for SOTs, and bringing back the kitchen gunsmith. If you can get a FFL, you can pretty much get an SOT. All it is like, I can't remember what the cost is, but it's just that extra cost basically, because if you can, the stuff to get the FFL, you can get an SOT. It's
well, it depends on the SOT, because it's different. It's different costs for different SOT. It's different levels of SOT, because your manufacturer has to pay more.
The cost.
The manufacturer has to pay more.
That manufacturer is different. That's not SOT. That's manufacturing. That's on.
No. There's an SOT that isn't a manufacturer.
is a manufacturer. SOT is not a manufacturer. SOT is like machine guns.
Well, the manufacturer of machine guns is SOT too.
But that's manufacturing.
Yeah,
that goes into manufacturing.
It's manufacturing.
Yeah,
Three
that goes
is
into
the dealer.
It's just paperwork and a little extra
I
fees.
think I
You get
know
one with the
what
other.
I'm talking about. I mean,
I mean, you only do it for a living, right?
All right, so
no, but
anyway,
I
it's
see
just
what you were saying, Sean.
cost, basically, because if you can get one, you can get the other. I
yeah,
mean,
you're just
right
saying
now,
if you're
you have to have
if
a
you're
storefront.
qualified to get one,
Yeah,
then
you're pretty
you'll
much
be qualified to get the other one. Yeah,
you just have like more eyes on you. Basically, is the only thing, and then the extra costs. But if you bring it back to where you don't have to have a storefront and you can just be a kitchen gunsmith again, that would also open up kitchen SOTs, because you don't have to have a demo letter in order to get post 86 machine guns. See, right now you have to have something stating that you have a purpose for it. You have to get a like a local police department or something says that they want you to come out and demo it for them, right? Mm-hmm. So that gives you a reason to have it. So now you can go and buy it. And but before that, you can't get it without jumping through that extra hoop. And so then you have to have extra stuff to go along with that. Or if you have, I mean, like, if you had a machine gun range, that's one thing, because that's a whole different animal. But having to have that demo letter time you want to purchase one, that's a huge hoop to have to jump through, because you basically have to have some department saying that you can that you're gonna be using that, demonstrate it to them because they have interest in it or whatever.
Switch gears here a little bit. Earlier we were talking about poaching and game wardens. Let me tell you, in Texas, game wardens have this secret magic that the time when you decide when you're going to do something illegal, or you don't have a license on you to fish, or whatever the hell you're doing, as soon as you get that big whopper, that catch, or whatever, you turn around, there he right fucking is, right on and see what you got there. Oh shit. And they have some secret magic, man, that they can appear anywhere. Like Nightcrawler.
Sense narcs, yeah. Where'd you get that?
Where'd you get that? Can I wait for you? No, sir.
It's like, nope, not unless you're gonna fucking debone it too.
Right.
I didn't see nothing, didn't get nothing.
But I'll split it with you.
Well, that's just good. That's just good tips
trying to bribe a game official.
That's just good tips for anything, because if you start blabbing about how you caught all these fish on this secret spot, you're out to dinner the night or whatever, that next day there's going to be 20,000 people in your secret spot. So I learned that from my cousin up north. And again, it wasn't because of game or nothing. It was just in general, hunting and fishing. Nope, didn't see nothing, didn't get nothing, because you don't want people to find your secret spot.
Right. So, all right.
You have made an hour and almost a half.
Yeah. Are we ready?
We're awesome.
Are we ready to cut it off, or you guys, want to talk about this some more? I mean,
no, let's
switch topic. I mean,
I think we've spread enough misinformation.
Let me check double quick. AWAG, have you said all you need to say?
For now, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess.
Well, hopefully it's forever, because when you stumbled earlier, that unprofessionalism will not be accepted on a high-class show like Hit or Miss.
You've just been called out by Paul Schaefer.
And let me remind you, we start the show by going bloop, doop, 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 doop,
doop. I can't believe we're still doing that 61 episodes in.
It's because you keep telling him to.
The people love it.
I don't.
All right, Schmaggy, I want to apologize sincerely, because the first time I've been on a live stream, I've honestly calmed down a bit. Okay.
Dude, he's totally just giving you shit to just give you shit. He's not being serious.
I think he knows I'm just joking. It's all good. And if he doesn't know I'm joking, then screw him.
Oh.
All right, so I want to thank my panel for showing up. We had some late joiners. We had some new people. So it's always good to have more people.
Triggered host.
Yeah, I'm always triggered lately. Things are pissing me off left and right. So
is it menstrual?
No,
it's menstrual.
No, it's not.
It's the hot flashes.
Are you and Smeggy having marital issues?
No, everything's fine.
It's those vapors. It's those vapors.
I thought this was switch and bait because I understood it was going to be what to do with those darn Super Bowl leftover chat.
No.
Oh, dude, Edge, have you seen pictures of what NRG Stadium looked like the morning after?
Oh, God.
Fucking
all right.
One-time used barbecue grills. People left like recliners in the parking lot because they knew they weren't going to, take them home with them. And
go there and go do a YouTube video on that. And just throw stuff in the back of a truck and take it home with this, man.
Yeah, I was trying to go up there for an old Smoky, but it was gone.
Oh.
All right. Anyways, thank my panel. AWAG, thank you for showing up. If you have anything you want to plug, go ahead and do so right now.
Go ahead, check out my channel for crazy, stupid gun stuff and reloading that too.
What's the name of your channel?
Just AWAG or whatever?
AWAG 1000.
Okay. Jeff, thank you for showing up.
Thank you for having me.
And do you have anything you want to plug?
No, we pretty much covered it. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of common sense that might be happening. That's kind of weird.
As far as I'm concerned, this is only
theoretical.
Theoretical. It's hypothetical.
It's gonna be huge.
I hope it's gonna be.
It's gonna be a beautiful thing.
We'll see what happens. Edge, we don't normally have you on Hit or Miss. Thank you for jumping in.
I'd like to plug my show, but I'm already too famous. It's already great. It's only gonna be greater. So
right. So don't miss Edge's show every Friday.
Edge of the week.
Edge of the week. What time is it? 11 Eastern.
10 p.m. Standard Time, or till I get my sixth beer in me.
Yeah, that's usually about
that's
right.
A good measure of time.
Yeah. So check him out. He's on Gun Channels too. Sean Carter, thank you for showing up. That last half.
Thank you for bringing some legitimate facts to the panel.
Right.
Well, I spent a good bit of yesterday.
That's why I was like, you need to get in here.
Well, I wanted to get it researched so I could do it, so I could have some facts for our show earlier.
I like facts.
So,
what is that show that you do?
Oh, that would be Shop Talk on the Andalusia Armory channel here at Gun Channels, 6 o'clock Central Time on Tuesday.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect, you were so nice to volunteer to be the lead-in show for, the primetime best show ever, Hit or Miss, Tuesday at 9 o'clock. So that was really nice of you to, get everyone warmed up for us so they can come over.
Did you just call him a fluffer?
I did not use those words.
All right.
This, not to mention Louisiana, prayers out to all those people in New Orleans and that area that are getting bombarded with that weather. Man.
Yeah, it's going to be go back into Night Strikes Wales.
No, because if that weather gets worse down in the Bahamas, we might actually get another hurricane.
Oh darn! In February, global warming.
Anyways, Sean, thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for the fish.
Thanks for switching bait.
Anyways, Smegs, thank you for showing up and leading us in.
Don't melt, my friend.
Oh yeah, no, I'm Magic Snow. It's all good. Thanks for having me. I want to promote Gear websites. Actually, I got a couple, so hang on. So check out Gear websites. He's got a bunch of patches and different things on there. You should buy it. Money goes to a good person, and it's awesome stuff. He's got stickers and all sorts of crazy cool things. That's good. But also on that note, a lot of you guys probably know G-Webs. If you don't, what the fuck's wrong with you? Go look up gun websites on YouTube and watch his stuff and see him on gun channels and everywhere. He's awesome. Anyways, he's looking for a van and he needs some positive karma out there. So just send out some positive vibes that bids will go through and people will leave him alone and different stuff. So just general positive good vibes towards G-Webs and van auctions.
And Paco Ghibli.
Poco Ghibli.
Paco.
Put the link
Oh,
in the
Poco
Ghibli.
chat.
No, Paco and Poco. We can do both. Maybe we have one for guys and one for girls.
All right.
I saw that yesterday, and when he posted it
I bought my
on
shirt.
Instagram or something, and I didn't know what it was. And then last night I was listening to Matt's chat, and I was like, "Oh, now I get it."
I ordered a shirt that night. I have a Poco Ghibli shirt coming my way.
All right.
Oh my God.
Heavy B, thank you for showing up and giving us your perspective.
Thanks, and don't forget to check out Friday Night Sights this Friday on the Heavy B channel.
And what time is that?
Google Plus and gunchannels.com/the Heavy B channel, and it should be going on at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I'll try and jump in.
Right on.
All right, and Travis, last but not least, thank you for jumping in and giving us your perspective.
No problem, man. Hey, again, check out my channel, Travis P11, and let's see, we're also on gunchannels.com, Ordinary Average Guy Gun Channel. Just keep putting out videos and range tests and all that fun stuff. So I got my drawing tomorrow night, so check out the channel. I'm going to broadcast it live on Instagram, and then I'm also going to film it, post it up on YouTube. So it'll be going. And then I do want to do a live podcast. So Nice Strike, thank you again for kind of walking me through the steps on that. I'm gonna do one at some point here soon. Just kind of do a gun chat. I'll post the event, and anybody can join in if they want to come in.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Thank you all for listening on the YouTube side and the Gun Channel side. This was Hit or Miss.